Dean, and I'm a person in recovery. And you are?
Hi, Dean. I'm Tia Elie, and I am with Acts of Kindness in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's a nonprofit that we started out due to one of my friends that was homeless in the area. So we actually help people with addictions get out of homelessness and go to the next step on their journey, whatever that might be.
That goes over our first question, which is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background? Do you have anything more you want to add to that?
Yeah, actually, I would like to say, I'm a hairdresser. That's actually my real job, right? I call that my paychecks that I get from people. But the Paychecks from the Heart is my nonprofit that I started. My background, I guess, my whole life, I've literally loved to help people. And I've known that we all have had gifts, and none of our gifts are the same, but if we put them together, it makes like such an easier life cycle. So that's who I am, and
Absolutely. I love that. I love that too.
I mean, I can tell you more of a backstory of how Acts of Kindness started, but I don't know if that's one of the questions here.
It probably will be.
Okay.
If we rehash any of them, let me know if I forget, and if you, vice versa.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go more, what is your current role of Acts of Kindness? Are you like the founder, the owner, what?
Well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you for having me on here.
Oh,
I do appreciate you
getting
our information out here, and I loved meeting you today. You're a beautiful soul. So Acts of Kindness, I'm actually the president and the founder of it. I found this beautiful company because I do love helping people, and like I said, I own a salon in Manchester. I met a beautiful soul outside of my salon, and he used to sleep behind my salon. It's really cold outside, and his name is Fads, and him and I became friends, which was weird because he would he'd sweep everywhere, and I was like, oh my god. And when we became friends, it becomes different knowing someone who's homeless. That's your friend. So that I went to bed at night and I'm like, oh my God, he's freezing. We have to do something. So what I did is I have lots of people that I know. Obviously, my network is huge, especially being a hairdresser. And my college friends and I would go to dinner, and I told them we have to do something. And one of them's she's in the accounting industry, and then the other one actually runs a billion-dollar company. So they're like, let's get a 501c, and I'm like, no, I just want to get money and give them food. I just want to get money and give them clothes. I don't want all this other stuff. And they said, well, we have to do this to make it legal. Yeah. So again, having people with the right gifts in the right places, they actually came in, and we created Acts of Kindness, which is what you guys know today.
Yeah, this sounds amazing. I mean, that's really nice, and that does no problem.
I'm sorry, buddy, go hang out with Fads. Auntie's doing an interview. Can you go hang out with Fads?
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Now he's going to have to edit it, baby. I was trying to do a perfect one with no edits. Go in the salt room, Fads. What about the salt room?
Yeah. What's crazy is I happen to know Fonz.
Oh, you do? Yes, yeah. I know. That's even more crazy. And I don't even care if you edit this out. That's my baby. So you got I have that. We have we do a lot at this area right here. We do, that is my boy. So yeah.
So just to make it easier, because I have a lot going on in my head. Yeah. So we kind of went over a little bit about what Acts of Kindness does, but can you explain the mission and specifically? I know you said food services and you're trying to do something with the housing. I know that. You did tell me that.
So it's grown. I know I was in the midst of telling you what it does. So we actually started by doing food because everyone needs to eat, right? And a lot of our friends were not eating out there. And we had this program that we were working with called Loads of Love, which unfortunately now is not working anymore, but they could do laundry at night there. And that's how we started. So we'd start handing them out food so that they would have, not be food insecure, because let's be clear, they're living out on the streets. They can't purchase food. They also can't keep very much of it on hand, right?
Yeah.
So we started with that. And what we found is they needed clothes. So I said, okay, so that, again, know lots of people. So I decided to go and ask my friends on Facebook. Thank God for Facebook. I just got to tell you that. But, hey, guys, we're looking for clothes. These are the size we're looking for. And we were able to hook up with a lot of my friends. And then we actually went to... from there, we actually went to we have another one, a lot of people that do like clothes for recovery. So she's another beautiful soul, and she brings me a lot of products as well for clothing. And then we have, hello, Bubba. And then we have, and so then they needed clothes. But what we found with that is we actually would go out and give them their clothes and their food, and we started going into parks and stuff like that. And with that, we found that they needed connection more than anything. Yeah. And that broke my heart, because that's something I've always been very, very, very blessed to be able to do. I love people. Connecting is my thing. So we'd go to parks and have conversations and find out where they were at and find out where they wanted to be. And so that's when recovery started being a thing for me. Like, okay, you know, let's get you out of here. Every person is different though. So we have to, you have to help everyone different. You come in at a thing for you. Do you know what I mean? And then, and like what you need is not what Fives needs, or what you need is not what John needs, right? Or what Kelly needs. So, yep, go ahead.
So on that, I do, I've experienced that myself. I've done community outreach myself, more specifically with getting people into treatment. I don't know if you agree. Would you say that, based on your experience, like recovery seems to be the easiest way to get people from being homeless to not homeless anymore?
So the hard part for me is that's the only way I honestly am able to find to get people from homelessness into, especially if they're using a drug, right?
Yes.
If they're homeless because they're not using a drug, then we have other things that we have.
What is there?
There's the housing list, for instance, right? So I can hook you up with people, because I know that you're helping the same type of people. So I can have Fads open it for you, baby. Okay, Auntie's doing an interview. Thank you, love. There's a housing list. Unfortunately, the housing list right now for Manchester is a 4-year waiting list. So I have a family. So again, I don't only work with people that are on the streets and that are addicted. I have a family that was actually lived upstairs, and they unfortunately couldn't afford to pay their rent. So they got two months behind, and then they got evicted. So we have 2 kids, a mom and dad. Mom and kids now are in Florida, and dad is in Massachusetts trying to get their life back together to come back together. So for me, it's just something that I, do you mind if he's...
It's okay.
It's okay if he's in this video? So, okay, that's all right. He's fine. So to me, it's like, I would have loved to have been able to find them a housing before they had to go to, become unhoused. Yeah. But that's not the way it works. And so with even on the housing list, a mom with kids right now there's just no housing. So with people that are addicted, the easiest way I find them to get into housing is obviously get them into a treatment program and then go into sober living. Yeah. And sober living is, honestly, I love sober living, because I think, and people might disagree with me, but I really do think that being held accountable, especially for the first year or so, is something that we need, right? As humans, period.
Absolutely.
And
especially
that's
coming
right.
from homelessness.
Coming from homelessness, because it's sad, and people are like, oh, why, there's so much help out there. First of all, that is not true. There's not so much help out there. Trust me. I am very educated, and I am not addicted to drugs, nor have I ever. And for me to get on these programs to help them get into them is crazy. Yeah. So that is the first problem. Second of all, the people that are homeless are thinking about, where do they go to the bathroom? Like think about that for a minute.
Yeah, I know.
I always tell my homeless people,
Manchester, yes, firsthand, there's like 2 or 3 bathrooms that you can use, and if it's after 7 o'clock, good luck. Right.
So now you have to hold your human matter until the next morning.
And then they put on the newspaper, some of the areas here in Manchester that individuals find to have to use, and they're like asking this question, which is easy enough to, if you've ever been homeless or not, had to go to the bathroom at a restaurant, especially in an inner city like Manchester. Right. You have to buy something. Yes. And if you don't, you're either probably going to use drugs in their mind, or maybe overdose, or,
And I understand that part of too, owning a business. I don't want you to come into my business and overdose in the bathroom either. Yeah. Right? So I understand both parts, and I guess that's what we do too, is we bridge people together, the bridge of listen, business, this is better for you if they have a place as well. Yeah. They're not on the streets. They're not creating chaos, because that's what they say. They create chaos. But the stories that I've heard, like of people, even when I'm giving them food, they say no. It's another thing I would say, don't get offended from people, because people, especially on the streets, are only going to take what they can.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they're going to carry that stuff all day with them, so if they're saying no to your water, or they're saying no to your peanut butter jelly sandwich, or they're saying no to your whatever your leftover food that you're giving them, they might be allergic to it. They might not be able to eat that. Do you know what I mean? Or they might just not want to eat, because where do we go to the bathroom? And they have to think about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's their everyday life. Like, where do I go to the bathroom? Where am I going to stay warm tonight? Where, what's the degrees? Like, so now you're asking them on top of that to think about where they're going to be in 20 minutes, right? No, they're thinking about what they're going to do right now.
So what, the laundry is, when I was still out here a few months ago, the
laundry was working.
Mr. Wright was still operating that.
Yeah. So Dan Wright did, and people say what they want about Dan, but Dan definitely
he's a good
sticks.
dude.
He's a good dude for our homeless folks. He sticks up for them 2,000%. And again, that's my heart, because so he actually, unfortunately, a new purchase came in, and the new owners couldn't continue the Loads of Love program. So now the Loads of Love program is not there. I know he's still working on trying to get it at a different location, but he hasn't done that yet.
So that's insane to me. So it's really it really comes in perspective what you're doing then, knowing that there isn't a place to do to wash laundry, which is people that are even in apartment buildings would say is extremely expensive to do. I couldn't imagine having to do that, and I know that was a place where we would conjure when I was homeless. Hang out, get a nice. He would always have food there, a drink, something,
yes,
and a bathroom.
Right. They would always, and that was the blessing, right? On Monday, they would have food that they could, because they did it, I think, Mondays and Thursdays, right? So Mondays was a night they would have food, and then Thursdays, so you could do your laundry 2 nights a week. And they also were able to have something for they had a food they knew that they would eat. Plus, they actually let them use their bathroom, so they could use the bathroom during the time of Loads of Love. And that's a big problem now. Bathrooms, showers. Like, again, I didn't even talk about that.
There's one place to shower if you're not with the shelter.
Yep, and that's hard. Even getting in and being on a list, right, for a shower. But it's like we should have a sanitation station, right?
Too,
because I have another friend that we actually helped. He got a job at Wendy's, and 3 days later got fired because he couldn't take a shower. And I understand that. Like, nobody wants you to be stinky serving food, but on the same token, he was trying to get his life together to get an apartment. So it's just like this circle that just keeps going and going.
Yeah. So I definitely want to cover more about what you're bringing to the Alderman. I know you said that, but before then, so do you do any what's your unique approach, especially when you're doing homeless outreach? We're an organization that actually does boots on the ground, and there's do you want Danielle to come in? Danielle can actually talk with us. It's okay, yeah.
Okay, so we do a boots on the ground. Boots on the ground is basically we talk to, I go out there and I talk to every single one of them. I've been in encampments. I've sprained my knee. I sprained my ankle. I was on crutches last summer for the whole summer. But boots on the ground is definitely our unique approach, and honestly connecting. And again, I told you earlier, I've had a gift that since birth, that I love to connect with people, and I don't judge people. I see them where they're at, and they see me where I'm at, and I'm no better or I always say, no one's above us or no one's below us, right? Yeah. We're all equal in certain things. I might be better at this, but you're going to be better at that. So we're all equal. And when we've learned to work together, that makes a difference. And so I guess with the unique approach that we do is we definitely are out there we hand them the food. Now they're coming to us, which is a blessing, because I know, you know what I mean? People, remember, I'm dealing with people that don't eat all day. They can't take a whole week's worth of groceries. Yeah. So they come into the food pantry and grab that. They grab the cops will come, they'll take out their encampment and they'll throw everything away. I know I'm going to see them because they're going to need clothes.
Especially
they're
right
going to
before
need
bad weather.
Right, they're going to need blankets. We also, though, put blankets into our cars, and we literally will go hand those out. Blankets, hand warmers. Almost every night we're out there on the streets. So people get to know you. And I think the part that they love the best is that they get to know you, but they can count on you. And that's the thing on the streets that, you know, people, it's like, oh, when it's convenient for you. For us, it's like, okay, it's -2 degrees out. We're definitely going out tonight. We don't want to be out 2 degrees neither. But when, you have 4 people that we can't bring to it, and that's another thing we'll do. We literally have people in our car all the time. Get in my car. Let's go. We bring them over to 39 because that's the warming station, right? So at 7 at night to 7 in the morning, they can stay there. But if they leave, they're not allowed back in. So there's a lot of rules, and I understand why the rules are there, but that's the unique approach that we do. I was telling you that we continue to grow through the close. We are actually looking for a building right now that we can actually have that going all the time. Our people there to talk to and to bring you to your next step, but always have the food pantry and the clothing thing open. And we're really, really looking for a place where we can actually have people housed. But the housing is not going to be like any shelter that you know out here. It's going to be like, listen, what's your next step? As long as you're moving to the next step, and I don't care what your next step is. Your next step might be like, you got to brush your hair daily.
Yeah.
That's a step. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this person's hair is looking fabulous. And then, okay, what's your next? Okay, we got to get your social security card. Okay, let's get that together. And it's together. It's not like we expect you to do it alone. It's, you know, and they need reminders. And I mean, I know you were on the streets for a while. So there's a lot, right? There's a lot of mental illness out there too that we deal with. But when you understand where they're coming from, you can treat them a lot different than you're not mad at them. You know, when they're yelling and screaming. I've actually had to apologize today to one of my friends who I absolutely love her. And she can go off the deep end and like, she'll call me all names, crazy and da 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 da. I know she loves me, but she's having a moment, right? I know her. I know what she has. She has a borderline personality. So we're talking, and today I went and apologized because I finally was like lost it on her, and I felt so bad. I'm like, no, I was being a jerk, and I said, no, I don't deserve to talk. No one deserves to be talked to like that. So sometimes, you know, we're human, right? As people that work out there, we're human, and sometimes we lose it too.
Yeah, I know. So you were just talking about you know, mental health and the challenges. What are some of the what are some of the health issues you do commonly see? And
health issues?
What do you do when that happens? Like mental health issues.
Okay, so health issues I have like frostbite right now. Frostbite's huge right now. But mental health issues, so I guess I'll do mental health and then we can do health issues because they're both that go. Mental health issues is obviously, it's huge. I want to say, and this is just me being out there on the streets, again, doing boots on my ground, 90% of the people that I talk to have some type of mental illness.
Being homeless for a prolonged period of time,
depression and anxiety, right? That is that, right? Exactly. Yeah. PTSD, right? Because you can't.
I suffer from PTSD.
Right. You can't sleep. You have trust issues, right? Like so, just those right there are like skyrocketed. Then on top of that, you have the people that do have schizophrenia. You have the people that do have bipolar. You do have the people that do have borderline personalities. You have, you know, there's a lot of them out there, and to be able to work from a place where you know that's where they're coming from is, for me, it makes me see them. And that's what I always say, like, I see you when I'm talking to them. I see you. And they're like, I'm like, no, I see you. I see this. I see your heart. I know who you are. Yeah. I see this facade you're putting on for people, but I see you. And, you know, the mental illnesses, they didn't choose those, right? That just comes along. It's not like you're like, hey, let me choose this. So I look at it as like cancer, right? If it was cancer, we'd be like, oh my goodness, they have cancer. Like, we feel so bad. We're getting them the treatment they need, right? We'd be doing GoFundMe pages for people.
And we'd have follow-up care.
We'd have follow-up care after. Mental illness, they don't, and that's, I always tell my other friends, because a lot of them have issues with going to get the correct drugs, right? For it, meaning there are some drugs. Some of them don't have drugs. Some of them, mental illnesses, you just can't. You have to deal with it, right? Yeah. But the ones that do, it's like, and they have issues with that because one, staying on them, the consistency, not losing them, having police take their stuff and throw it away every night, and then they don't have it. They have to force 30 days. Having
to do that myself, I would imagine that some of the problems is how some people that work with them at, like, you know, like not necessarily the outreach program that the Manchester Mental Health has, but some of the actual mental health workers can be, used to be very vicious to me and sometimes.
Right.
And then, you know, going off of everything else, it probably a deterrent.
Right.
You know,
No,
to
it
want to
does.
go
And you have the most amazing mental health workers, right? That like, and then they get overloaded because they have like, 130 people cases. It's like,
and then
what the?
when
Yes,
I
so,
go off about something to them
Yeah.
about one of their coworkers or something, it makes them second guess if
Yeah.
they should continue working too,
Yeah.
right? And
Well, I call that compassion fatigue too, because
Yeah.
you got to remember every mental health worker out there. I mean, even myself, right? Being out there with acts of kindness, I'm choosing to do that. But it's like some days it gets tiring because you can't fix it. You know what I mean? You try to, but you can't, and that's what we're really trying to do. Is help. Not that they're broken, because I guess fix is the wrong word, but help. And if I can help you understand where you're coming from as a human, then you can understand your own brain. I have one of my friends that has schizophrenia, and he's so funny to me. He's like, what you help me do sometimes when I have my coffee, my friends are talking to me, and I'm like, nope, I gotta have my coffee, and then I gotta be in reality, and then those are really not, I mean, they're my friends, but they're really not my friends. They're not here. He literally has to tell himself that all the time. And it's just because of me having a conversation with him. I'm like, well, if I was there, this is what I would do. But they have, you have to realize that you have it. And then you have to realize that those voices. And then again, if you've been involved in drugs, right?
Yeah,
those voices sometimes just come even without schizophrenia, right?
And so I personally, for me, because I can't speak for other people, but for me, I've had various diagnoses that weren't necessarily correct. I'm currently not on any medication now. I'm not even on an MAT, and I'm doing fairly well.
Right.
It's been 5 months.
That's awesome.
But sometimes being homeless or using drugs by themselves, or just being homeless, can cause a lot of problems there.
Lack of sleep.
Yes, definitely.
When did you ever get 8 hours of sleep when you were homeless?
Not often.
Thank you.
And because especially using drugs myself, I would I don't think I could get to sleep at night without some substances. I think homelessness, even if you go into homelessness not using drugs from like job loss or something, maybe a traumatic instance in life.
Yeah.
I don't see people that are in homelessness for more than 3 months not using substances after.
I have some of my friends that are using, and I'm so bad at the drugs. That's why I think they love me, because they know I have no clue about them. But I believe it is fentanyl.
Yeah, most likely fentanyl.
And they're like, it literally, and method, right? And they said, because I'm like, how are you staying out here? They're like, my body's burning up. But that's because they just did their drug, because they know they have to stay out here -2 degrees. And I'm like, I'm frozen. Like,
for me, methamphetamines was so, like, they say that. So for me, as like a survivor in a sense, not just like surviving something, and then just the way my brain works. Sorry, I said that like 15 times. I know alcohol causes me to feel warmer, but actually caused me to succumb to freezing cold temperatures faster.
Exactly.
So methamphetamines, when you don't have a blanket, or when you can't just stop, you're soaking wet, or it's snowing and you can't just stop, and you're tired, methamphetamines is something that kind of saved my life in some standpoints.
Right.
You know
Kept
what I mean?
You warm,
and people don't typically get to hear that, and understand. I personally don't even bring it up most of the time.
Right. Well, I like to bring that up because I think that the rest of the world has to hear that, because people are like, oh, they're just using their drugs, or they want to be homeless.
Maybe at
and
first.
I literally want to grab these people and just be like, come out here for like 3 hours and just sit on the sidewalk with me for 3 hours. Who would enjoy this? Do you know what I mean? So even when they're homeless, though, I don't think that they like to be homeless. I think they just like freedom. Right?
Yeah.
But
and it's so hard to overcome. There's a lot of high barriers, even in the low barrier shelters.
Right.
There's a lot of high barriers. Right. The rules, the waking up at 6 a.m. for pretty much no reason.
Right.
Yeah. The problems with, once you're chronically homeless, after about a month, even people that aren't chronic, but after about a month, you're going to find problems staying clean. You're going to find problems having clean clothes. Doing a job interview when you can't even buy a razor to shave your face.
Exactly. I'm going to tell you about a story. Actually, it's with Fads, the guy that you know, and the guy that started Acts of Kindness. One of the most beautiful times that I've ever had with him, and there's been many, because he's taught me so much I think he's taught me more than I've taught him, to be honest with you. He'll differ. He'll say no. But one of the most beautiful times is my daughter's a master barber. And so I was like, listen, get over here. We're going to get a haircut. And he's like, okay. And so he came in and he was still using addictively. Yeah. He was not addictively using. He was actively using. That's the word they call it. There's a word here. Yeah. Actively using. And so he was passing out in the chair, right? So he's going like, my daughter and I was like, I kept moving his head, like holding it up, and she's like, "Oh, just let him sleep." And I'm like, "I'm not sure how you're doing a haircut like this. I'm a hairdresser, but I don't want you to be sleeping. I need your head up. Move it this way, right?" But she was so good; she did it with him sleeping. And he woke up. I have pictures of it. He has pictures of. I have pictures of it, and he woke up, right? So he's like Fods, and then he wakes up and he's like Fods, and he like looks in the mirror and he's like. He just became a whole nother person. Yeah. And he's like, I've never seen a man check himself out so much in a mirror as him. He's like, look at it. And of course, we're a salon, so we got lots of mirrors looking. Yeah. And he's like looking and he's like putting his shoulders up. And, and he's like, I am looking fly, right? And now you know how old I am. And so I was like, but it was so funny because just a haircut gave him the confidence, like, oh, that's Fod's eye. That's the Fod's eye I know. And, I'll tell you another funny story about that same haircut. He was riding his bike again. He was on meth at the time. So he's riding his bike, probably up for 5 days. And then, your body's like, we're not going to do this anymore. Yeah. Flipped over on a bike and literally just fell asleep as he was still riding the bike. So he's like sideways on the sidewalk with his legs still in there. The cop wakes up. He's like, dude. And so Fod's like, wakes up.
I just didn't want anybody to steal my bike. He
goes, oh, I'm sorry. I just needed a little nap. And he's like, what, like with a haircut like that? Come on, you don't belong here. And Fods was like, he goes, even the cops noticed the haircut. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just those little things that they will never do for themselves. That like, I want to bring that. Taking a shower daily is huge for mental health, right? Yeah. So that's why in our center, we will have a shower. I don't know how. I don't really care if I have a hose and I'm spraying them outside and shampooing them when they're bathing. So I don't know, but there will be a way that they can take a shower. I am obviously a hairdresser, so I can do that with them.
From the 1269 or those are like the shelters around here?
I don't really, I met Mary a couple times, but I don't really know her. 39 is probably my shelter that I went to a lot more. I do a lot more work with Jake. But even that shelter is like...
Is that the director of homelessness now? I only know the last
Jake
director.
He runs the... I believe Owen's the director of homelessness right now.
Because the lady that started the 39 Beach Street, that's who I used to work with. But
there needs to be a sanitization station. Like, it has to be, and people should be able to come in, take a shower. And again, I get it, because some people do stupid things in the shower, right? But so you have to watch
It's also hard to start those things because... the surrounding area is gonna be not happy about that.
Right, so but is it because again, if you're home, you can go to Planet Fitness for $10 a month, and you can get a shower whenever you want. Yeah. So again, you're home. You have a home. You have a shower, but you want to go work out, and you can take another shower. Like those are things that I'm like. And yet you want these guys to get a job. You want these guys to
And you need to do the haircut. You need to do the clean clothes. You need to have the shower.
You need to feel good about yourself. Like people, it's like, it's when you feel good on the outside, it does make you feel good on the inside. I don't care. And it doesn't even have to be like you're the most beautiful, right? It has to be like, wow, I've taken care of myself. I've taken a shower. I went, and I'm not going to say the place, but my friend the other day, though, I brought to rehab, and he was upset because he did take a shower before he went. I told him, I came here and re-washed his hair because they had no soap or shampoo or conditioner.
Yeah. What? So do you also try to provide hygiene products to people?
I do. Like we actually do have, we have shampoo, we have conditioner, and they can get them here, but I'm saying and I actually brought a whole box of them over to that shelter, was like, here you go. Can you please make sure they get soap and shampoos and, you know what I mean, when they're going into the shower? And they're little ones. And actually, so I have my home people that are very wealthy. I will tell you, like, most of them have good money, and they'll go to the hotels and stuff, and they bring their own shampoo and conditioner because they're not going to bring these, but they'll bring those back to me. So I have a lot of the like little shampoos and conditioner, so they can use them once and toss them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So
do you ever try to work with the free store in that case?
I have not. Nope, I've not. So this is the thing when I started, and I guess this could be kind of snobby or whatever we want to call it, but I didn't want to do things the way other people did things. Okay. I wanted to do it. I wanted to kind of start it and do it, because what has happened isn't working, right? Whatever people
Yeah.
are doing right now was not working.
Or
So
it's not working enough.
It's not working enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I literally went back, Manchester, myself and Fads last night were looking at when, it was in 2020 when they were taking the encampments down in front of,
Yep.
199.
Was that in 2020?
I think it was like
'Cause I think 2020 or 2019 was the ones around the courthouse. So
Oh, yes, it was the court. No,
maybe.
you're right. It was the courthouse
Yeah.
we were watching. And I'm watching that, and I'm seeing the same people that are on these events that are still out there struggling. And two of them that I know aren't on drugs anymore. Thank you, Jesus. They went to rehab, and they did what they got to do, but they're still unable to afford housing in Manchester. They're building houses. Great, you're building these houses over here, but $2,000 a month. Who can afford that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And even
I'm
subsidized housing.
right, and you have a 3-year waiting list in order to get onto like
and
Section 8.
if you're a felon, or if you have, once you're homeless for like, even if you don't have a record, I'm lucky enough where, I mean, I've been arrested several times, but
Right.
I'm lucky enough where I was able to not get convicted of a felony.
Right.
But I know someone that tries to be very moral.
Mm-hmm.
When I was homeless, I definitely still did some things that I, should have been charged with or arrested and convicted of. And I only can imagine that's another difficulty, because now getting on the list
Mm-hmm.
for Section 8 or homelessness or like subsidized housing, those can be some hard problems right there.
They are.
It's
And for subsidized housing, the way you get up the list is like the more issues you have, right? So if you have mental illness, that moves you up. If you're a woman, that moves you up. If you have kids, that moves you. Do you know what I mean? So it's like if you have a disability. So it's like, and again, it's so rightfully so. But on the same token, there's still people that are out here that can't afford a bedroom. Like, I'm talking like a bedroom. Like, why can't we just make a bunch of bedroom, like a dorm room, like college?
Yeah.
Start off with that. Do you know what I mean? And have like, this is your dorm room. You don't have to worry. Whatever's in there is yours. You lock the door. You know what I mean? But there's showers in there. Just 5 or 6 showers in my daughter's dorm room. Do you know what I mean? So there's ways it can be done. It's just a lot of people don't. I can't even say they don't want to put the money into it, because the money that they've used right now that I know that they've used for 39 Beach Street, the monthly payment that they pay them, it's been over $1.5 million in 2 years that they've given them. You could have built a place, Manchester. Shame on you for less than $1.5 million and owned that. Guess what? If homelessness goes away and we don't need it no more, we sell it as a dorm, or we use it as something else. Do you know what I mean? But like, instead you put money into landlords that don't really care, and they're just upping, and you're not solving the problem. So my question to a lot of people is, are we managing the problem, or are we solving it? Because I like to solve things. I don't like to manage them.
Some of the problems too are people that are giving the finances or whatever to do this stuff. Like, I know I've worked, I don't want to throw shade on anybody's name. I personally don't know what happened, what the conversations were, what they had to agree to get these things up, because we just wanted to get them up, But I've worked with the alderman here in Manchester on, on the Sunrise grant. I don't know if you ever heard of that. And so I can only imagine that some of the difficulties is that these people are just making deals.
Yeah.
I forget where I was going with it.
No, I think I can help you with that, because I think they do make deals. Like, I went to the housing. There was
the trustworthy people just aren't in the offices that need it, because it's a shicey business.
Right, and it should be if you're going to get paid, it should be because you're solving problems, not because you're creating them to last longer.
Or if you're in office, it shouldn't be because you made choices to undercut somebody on voting or something like that,
Well, the thing that bothers me, and again, we don't know the whole story, like you said a little earlier, like, I found out going to the coalition housing thing, that they the reason they wouldn't give us HUD money if we allowed people to have tents in Manchester. So I was so mad at everybody because I'm like, okay, it's negative 20 degrees out. You have a tent over your head because it's a blizzard, as you know, last week, right? And they have a tent to just keep the elements off them, or rain or whatever. And now you're going to fine them because they don't have any money anyway, but you're going to fine them, which to me is a waste of our court money.
All their stuff.
A waste of, take away all their stuff. You're going to waste of the court money, a waste of the officer's money. It's actually a waste of the paper you're writing the ticket on, to be quite honest with you, because they're not going to pay it. Yeah. They're not going to show up at the just in front of the judge because they don't have a clue when their appointment is. So that's all a waste to me. But I was mad that they were taking the tents away from them. But then what I found out is that if they didn't do that, Manchester said it was legal to tent, they were going to lose HUD money. So they're trying to do what's good for them. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? So there's that problem as well.
What's crazy to me is you mentioned how expensive some of the rents might be, like with the new Beach Street shelter. Yeah. And what's crazy to me is I know around $44 million was allocated to the city of Manchester from the state's budget 2 or 3 years ago, and only about $400,000 of that was actually where the head alderman, Pat Long, at the time, I don't know if he's still in office or is his city rep, said that only $400,000 of that was shown to actually have some positive impact towards the overall goal of that. Right. And it's insane because it's hard to argue that Beach Street is taking too much money or something like that, but it's hard to argue because it's one of the only places that you can see
exists.
Right.
No, I agree, and I just, to me, my business mindset, because I own a business, is $30,000 a month for rent for a garage that's not smart business. You could have rented 15 places for $2,000 a month, and you know what I mean. So, but that's again me, and that's how I think, because
I can't believe that those numbers. I mean, I would have to look into them more, but that those don't include residential approval from the city or different types of what's called certs that you need to run something like that. I can't imagine. Okay, we've gone over some of the challenges and frustrations. What about success stories?
Oh my God. Success stories for acts of kindness. We are so blessed, honestly. I have, and I say I, whenever I say I, that means acts of kindness, okay? I kind of steal all that. I usually say we, but we actually have 59 people that are off the streets, out of addictions, in homeless living, in their own places, or one of our girls even bought a house. So she's been clean for 16 months. Yeah, so that is incredible. Having cars, we actually just celebrated with one of our guys the other day. Ray got a new car. He's like, he hasn't had a car forever because of his addiction issues. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. We gave him hugs. We took pictures. So we have cars. We have guys and girls that actually not only have amazing jobs right now, but they're running 400 apartment buildings. They're not only living their life, they're loving their lived life. And a lot of them come back and still give back, and I'm so blessed. We do our pantry on Thursday nights at 4:30 here, and a lot of them will come in and help us with that. And I've noticed there's two different people. There's people like my fads who will come and do everything and let people know where he's at, and then there's other people that were in the thick of it that don't want anything to do with being out there when we're out on the street, because it brings them back down to where they don't ever want to, and that's okay. Yeah. My whole thing is find out who you are and what works in your heart, and if it doesn't, I'm here for you. I'm not here I'm here for you, because at the end of the day, those 59 people, even if we never did another person, my heart is good. My heart is good. I know that, I told you we're actually bringing one to rehab again tomorrow. So I know that 59 is going to continue to grow, but you got to think we haven't even been open for 2 years. April 1st this year will be our second year of being open as Acts of Kindness, and that's over 2 a month that we're bringing into rehabs, getting them through, and then bringing them into, again, we go the step with them. So what's after rehab? After rehab is sober living. What's after sober living? Let's get a job. Now you're paying your sober living and you got a job. Usually most of them at that point are
do you work with the doorways?
I actually work with the doorways when I call to get people into rehab.
Absolutely.
But I don't.
That's all I really
do with them, because after that, I blessed to know so many sober houses right now that I can just call them and they're like, hey, we have an opening. And I'm like, okay, it's $225. You know what I mean? I can get people into that. Yeah.
I know the New Hampshire Corps is kind of tight on their funding right now, but Doorway still has it.
If I could pick one thing that I wish that people would do is to give people rehab gift certificates, like a gift certificate to someone to go in, because I do have a couple people that are not insured, get denied for whatever reason, and they want to go, but I can't get them in.
I don't know if you heard about the my first interview. It happened that they announced it during my first interview on Thursday. The Great American Recovery Initiative from the federal government. It's something that our President Trump is trying to. It's just the beginning, you know. So
that's the
I'm hoping that's going to flood the street with some of this stuff.
Yep, and Medicare needs to step up because Medicare.
There's one place in the country that you can send them to, and then since that supersedes, I don't know if you already know this, but since Medicare supersedes Medicaid, which is the difference between federal and state. And then you have two if you're on disability. You have both of them, or if you're over 65. And having both of those insurances, the one that covers in-state doesn't since the Medicare is superseding, you only can go to one place. It's great for healthcare, but for people suffering with addiction, I think that's going to be the first major change they would have to make.
Those would be the two things that, I would say. If you don't have insurance, you still need to go.
If you're not an owner of a facility, or you don't know an owner, or like, the CEO of a place, or whatever it is, it's going to be very difficult to get somebody without insurance in. Now, do you have experience taking people down to the Department of Human and Health Services?
I do. So you're talking about like welfare over here?
Yeah, to get them to get their PR number.
So I actually am pretty blessed because I do have people on our board that actually does a lot of that paperwork for me. Paperwork is not my thing. People are my thing.
Yeah.
I always say you just got to know your thing, right? Remember that? Yeah. So papers, not people is. But I try to do it, and I always make her look at it because I'm literally like forgetting to cross the T or dot the I, or like, hello, you've got their birthday here. Like important stuff, So we've gotten food stamp cards, we've gotten insurance, we've gotten...
Did you know when you get somebody signed up for insurance, when they get that PR number, or what, I forget if it's PR or PS, or that number... saying that that you can use that to get them into a place, so it's retroactive for 3 months?
Yeah, I actually just found that out for one of my guys who doesn't have it. He's actually, because he's 65, he has to change over now to go to a different program. And I did find that out, that they could do retroactive, but I still have to get him to get the number before he can go in.
That's why I was asking if you did participate with the DHS.
I do, And I have no problem asking lots of questions and being like, listen, guys, I have no clue what I'm doing here. How can I help? How can you help me do this? And then they're like, oh. And I've honestly had a lot of people help me, like, oh, my God, girl, you're doing great things. Like, here, this is what you got to do. Dude, I could do this part for you. So. Yeah.
So okay. Do I not? Okay. Sorry.
That's all right. You still got your Patriots hat on. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Go Patriots.
Yeah. The Super Bowl is this weekend.
Right.
I can't imagine. You get a lot of volunteers or just like past clients that come back. Is that what it is?
So honestly, right now, most of we just actually put in for 2 grants. Thank God, I'm praying we get those. But everything for the past 2 years has been people that have been private donors. And that's just people I know, people my board knows, people. We do an event. We're doing one February 18th, actually, if you'd like to come.
Like an advocacy event?
Yeah, it's actually to raise money. So it's a fundraiser. We're doing it at Chunky's in Manchester.
I'll try to include the flyer in this.
Because I would love that.
I'll at least share the ad on my Facebook.
The $10 goes that you pay to get in. That goes to Acts of Kindness. 100% of it goes there. And then your food and drinks you can buy, and you pay for those at the register. And then we have raffles. So the raffle money all goes to Acts of Kindness as well. Cool. So we have a lot of companies that help us with that. So pretty much that's what's been sustaining our budgets for right now. And obviously we're going for a place now. So we're looking to get grants to help us open.
And you're going to like the city, like the aldermen and stuff?
Yep. So we actually put in for 2 grants. We'll find out the middle of February about those. And then I did talk to Jay, the mayor, and he told me to put a business proposal together and send it to him. So we're working on that. Actually, we have a board meeting tonight. So we're working on that. and putting that together and see what Jay can do to help us, because obviously, what if he helps us, we help.
And you
we help
are
our
a
people.
501c?
Yeah, we're a 501c. Yep.
Now, did you know? I don't know if it's with 501cs or if you have to be a trust. Did you know you can also sell like tax exempt donations to like places like CVS or Walgreens or whatever?
Yes,
like
actually
that?
we can. Yeah, so if they donate, we can actually give them a tax exempt. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So actually, funny story. We're working right now with a lot of our people that were private donors. They work for companies that actually will donate, but we need to give them like the W-9. So we're actually working on getting those. I honestly started this program. I had no clue. With, and that's why I said, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. Take this first step. Take a step.
Yeah,
because look at what happened when right.
Now.
And I am blessed because now people, after I took that step, people are like, oh, okay, this girl's still around, and now they've come in. So I have people that have worked in this community, whether it's with food or homelessness, and they've taught us a lot of stuff. So now we have people on our board that really know what they're doing, and so this year, watch out, we're gonna blow up.
yeah. I really do hope so. It sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
And like I said when I reached out to you originally, I wasn't in Manchester for a while. I did find out I was in a rooming house in Nashua. I started a program over on Chestnut in Manchester with the Freedom Movement in New Hampshire, and but I'm pretty sure I've heard of what you do.
Yeah.
And so that when someone
and like
reminded
I said, we're
me,
new, so depending on I don't know how long you've been doing this, but we've only been, this April will be 2 years.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And I didn't even know that Fonz was a part of this.
Fonz is
he's
actually
a good friend.
Fonz is the reason.
Yeah.
He's more than a part. He's the reason. If I never met him, I would have never had these thought processes go through my head.
So we'll finish this up because you did just get a phone call, you got a text, and I know you have somebody on. So I don't want to get in between that. I know every minute counts. Personal perspective in closing. This is the ending part. I think I didn't have to. This time it was kind of cool. It just kind of lined up with our conversation.
I have no problem talking, right?
Yeah. So personal perspective in closing. What keeps you motivated to do this work? Like, what does empowering lives through kindness mean to you personally?
Again, I think it's always been since I was little. I feel what keeps me motivated, I think, is, going out on those streets and seeing people, like it's like we help 1 or 2, 3 off the street and there's like 10 more back out there. It's not, and not for any reason but their own. You know what I mean? It's not like they're like, hey, let me be homeless. It's different. So
and once you are homeless,
homeless,
you need somebody like
right,
yourself
to just take the steps, and then you also need to be trusted, right? So I think kindness is just the way I've always been, and I think that it's the way of the world. I think that love will outdo hate any day. I think that light will outdo the darkness, and it's not even the thought. It's I know that our world, this world, is going into love, is going into kindness, is going into let me help thy neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're biblical, and I am biblical, but whether you're biblical or whether you're just a human being, how do you watch another human being suffer and be okay with that? Because if it can happen to them, that means it can happen to you.
Yeah.
And if you just think like that, that's what I think, like, what would I want someone to do for me if I was in that situation? And also, I've always done, I need to be the person I needed when I was younger. So if I was homeless, what would I need to get, and I don't call it a hand up. I call it like we just help them up. Don't look down upon anyone unless you're literally lifting them up.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I'm gonna, have do. So kindness to me means everything. And that is just who I am. It's just what I radiate. It's just, again, like I say, no one is above us and no one is below us. We're all equal. I might have more of this and you might have more of that, but if we come together, if you have an idea and I have an idea, now we have 2 ideas, right? It's like, that just makes more sense to me than like, oh no, I got my idea and you got your idea. Now we each have 1 idea. But if we get that and then we can start brainstorming, now we get 5 or 6, do you know what I mean? So,
and we can actually work towards those.
Connection. So I always say we consistently, because that's another thing, consistently. You don't just want to do it when you feel like it. Consistently connect with compassion, and that's actually what Acts of Kindness does. And every single one of our workers are on that level, and that's another thing that I think helps out, because I definitely pick people that none of us get paid to do this. Every single person with Acts of Kindness is 100% volunteer, and I love that about our organization. And none of us get paid to do this. So what we're doing, the time and energy we're putting in, is because we love people.
Yeah.
And I always say profit and losses. We talk about people and love. P&L for them is profit and losses. P&L for us is people and love.
Yeah. In short, what message would you share with people who are currently experiencing homelessness?
Oh, hold on. Honestly, stay positive. And I know that is a hard thing to say. Stay positive and know that you are worth it. Know that you do matter, and know that call me, text me. 603-491-2927 is my phone number. If you want to be out, you're ready to give up that one thing to create your whole life, because you give up one thing to get everything. I'm sure people have heard that before, right? Yeah. I'm there, and I'm there. And I always tell them this. I said, I'll give you 90%. Can you just take 10% and believe in yourself? I got 90%. Actually, I got 110, but I want you to you got to do at least 10, you know? So I think that, just keep going. Keep walking forward.
Now, last question. Is there anything else you'd like to add that we haven't covered? Anything specific?
Anything specific? I think, I do want to give out a shout out to my fabulous board. Because they work, I have actually all four of us work probably 40 hours a week on Acts of Kindness. And I want you guys all to know that without them, we are a village. Without them, none of this would be possible. Without you guys, none of this would be possible, meaning our entire donations, whether they give us $1 or they give us $1,000, whether they show up once at a night to help us stock the shelves, or they show up every single Thursday, whether they give us, just socks 1 or 2 times, or they give us socks every single week. It takes a village, and that village showing up does matter. And that's, I believe, the difference between us and everyone else. I think that we definitely, people see that. Our homeless friends see that. And they're like, oh, like the other day I was told, actually, one of my friends came in, and his name was Ray. And he's like, he was with his other friend, and his other friend is, he says, I told you she was real. And he goes, I can't believe you're real. Like, why do you do this? And I laugh. I look at him, I laugh. I said, I don't know why I do this, but I love you guys. I did. Like, I always give them hugs. Like, anyone. Like, my board can't even leave without a hug. Like, you're not leaving without a hug. Yeah. I think connection, that touch is important. So yeah, I think that's but just be the person you needed. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a lot of way too much, meanness, like way too much, like, just get out of it. Well, if they could, they probably would have done that now. They've been homeless for 5 years, so clearly we gotta think of something else to bring them forward. Yeah. And I'm a mom, as you see. You saw my kid running around and jumping on me, and I have 3 of my older ones. That's actually my great nephew, but we won't tell anybody because that means I'm old. But he's my baby. Absolutely love kids. So I think that just being like, I'm here for you. Being a mom. That's one thing I know how to do. Is be a mom. Yeah. Well, I personally want to thank you for doing what you do. It sounds like you're working on something amazing here, and I really hope that they give you the grants and everything. I think you would be somebody that could really help the community with what you want to do, and I hope that I feel like you're going to try to make it happen with or without. But, it will. Ask my board. They're like, oh, this girl. So, I'm like, but why can't we do it this way? Why can't we do it this way? Why can't we do it this way? Absolutely. Like, there's these rules. I'm like, but I'm a good problem solver. Yeah. And we will. We'll get it done, and it'll be, with God's help, obviously, because there's no way that I've done this by myself, because literally I had no clue. I was a hairdresser. I was a pink Cadillac sales director in Mary Kay. I have a lot of connection, but I don't have any clue about nonprofits but I do know how to love people. And that's what I think, you know, that's why our thing is a heart. When you look at our little, it's hearts, because that's what we do. We just love people where they're at, and let's take the steps together. Because it's easier.
Thank you for taking the
Thank
time.
you,
for
hon.
this.
Please, I can't wait
appreciate
to
your
send
time,
you
Tia.
this. Can I give you a hug? I'm not.
Well,
gonna shake
yeah,
your hand.
I was just. Yeah, absolutely.
You want to be professional and shake hands? We can shake
Absolutely.
hands, but this is the more important. All right, honey.
All right.
Thank you, and thank you
Tia.
for all you've done, and congratulations.
Yeah.